Hey YouTube, Casual Brews here with my Seahawks post-game recap. Seahawks lose 13-10 to the New Orleans Saints. Another rough one to watch. Just like the Steelers game, another game we weren't supposed to win, obviously. Underdogs, this time at home. Gino fought hard and gave you a little false hope. Maybe they could pull this one out. Would have been really big to get back to like 3-4. Game they should have won, honestly. Like, kind of right. Couldn't have started any better. I mean, besides obviously going, I think 3-0 in the first drive. Defense looked good right out of the gate. Even though the Saints are kind of a little bit shaky offensively, honestly, they don't really, outside of Kamara, they don't really seem to know what they're doing sometimes offensively. But the defense looked really good right out of the gate. Seahawks got off to that 7-0 lead off of that bomb to Metcalf. Maybe a little bit of a push. It was a good no call, I guess, but, Metcalf did kind of throw him down, and just for that big play right there makes you wish they involved him in the game a little bit more, because when they did, he only had 3 targets, I think, all game. One, obviously, the first one, the 84-yard touchdown. The second one, Gino missed him on a play that could have been big, and then went back to him the very next play for a first down. I get Lattimore's one of the better corners in the league, but Metcalf was clearly in his head. I think Lattimore committed 2 penalties, losing his cool against him. So it's kind of perplexing why they didn't involve him more in the game. I get the Saints defensively probably bracketed coverage to him a little bit, but still, I think if you get DK the ball, even just quickly in space, he can make things happen. So, but yeah, look promising. Kind of unlike the Steelers game where they got down early, looked like shit, had to kind of rally back and made some things happen. This game was kind of nip and tuck the whole way through. It was right there for the taking. Again, last drive, get the ball, do nothing with it. Gino wasn't good. Not going to sugarcoat it. He missed a couple key throws. The one to Lockett, wish he could have put more air under the ball. Even though Lockett probably should have had that one, the deep throw down the sideline. Missed that key pass to DK, even though the next pass went for a first down anyways. I think that play right there, DK could have been gone for a bigger gain if he had hit him. Just overthrew him on a simple slant play. So Gino wasn't great, don't get me wrong, but it didn't do him any favors, especially in the second half when he'd get stuck in 3rd and long because, and I get it, you come off the game against Pittsburgh where the running game was very effective. You want to carry that momentum going, but it just wasn't there today. And I don't know if it's Pete Carroll, I don't know if it's Waldron. It's just unfortunate. You kind of wonder about Pete Carroll when you see some of the same game plans through now 2 to 3 different offensive coordinators. Waldron is supposed to be this creative guy. We saw glimpses of that earlier on in the season. And then when it was, I think, 10-10 maybe, or either way, it was within a field goal the whole second half, obviously, right? So when it was a close game, especially off that turnover, just run into the teeth of the defense, like nothing creative. The Saints have one of the best fronts, one of the best front sevens, especially up in the, Demario Davis plus their defensive line is very solid. And they ran 8 straight runs, and none of them were creative. It's one thing if you try to run off the tackle, maybe get to an edge, maybe a screen, try something try something more creative instead of running the ball straight into the teeth of the defense. And you think 1 or 2 times getting stuff for no gain or a loss would be telling enough, but they kept doing it again and again. And then, okay, Gino, here, throw it on 3rd and 10, throw it on 3rd and 11. Well, he's not that guy. I think he still would have been capable of winning this game for us, because I don't think Jameis is really that much better on the opposite side. But he got no favors done. He wasn't put in a position to succeed, having to be in 3rd and long and that. And, to be fair, yeah, he really The second missed field goal, which really hurt. I mean, the first one hurt a lot too because it was only 44 yards, considering he made a 50-yarder after that. But that second missed field goal, those 2 straight sacks were killer. And I know that's part to do with Geno not being quite as agile as Russ. Maybe Russ gets out of those, although Russ can also take his fair share of bad sacks, but he also gets away from many of them as well. So maybe he avoids those. I don't know. But yeah, those 2 bad sacks that Geno took that led to the 55-yard miss could have been only 40-yarder or something like that, right? That was killer. Yeah, but so you got to put a lot of that on Geno not having good pocket awareness, but also just some of the play, not developing quick plays to support your backup quarterback. It's like they're running the same game plan they do for us, which sometimes also is a negative because they still run too many long developing plays. Still run the ball when they shouldn't. Yeah, it was clear that at least even though he made a couple bad throws, even the best quarterback's going to make a couple bad throws. So I don't think they really saw enough from Geno throwing the football unless they want to just look at the bad sacks he took as a reason to. There wasn't enough evidence there to completely abandon the passing game the way they did in the second half. Just to go complete, it was 8 straight runs they did. And it's one thing if it was in the Steelers game where they went on that stretch there and ran the ball 10 yards a clip. It was 0, it was -2 to 3 yards max every run, and they ran it 8 straight times. I think during that stretch was after the fumble recovery. So you got the fumble, should be a big swing momentum, and they went 0 yards after that fumble. And then that was the only field goal they actually made. But big fumble like that in a close game in Saints territory, you gotta cash that in. At least get a couple more first downs, give your defense a reward, a break. No, they go boom, 3-and-out field goal. Just Geno's not absent of blame, of course. Russell Wilson obviously I think wins that game, but the game plan did him no favors. I thought he made some throws that were good enough to at least be little more willing to throw the ball. At least quick throws, slants. Again, I keep harping on it. Use the tight ends. He seems to have a good rapport with his tight ends. And Disley, I don't think Disley got a target today. Everett had that one kind of check down that went in for negative yards, but he also had a couple other good plays too. I don't know. Geno's no pinpoint accurate passer, but I think you still could have been a little productive throwing the ball instead of just going all out run. And it was after, I think, the 2 sacks that he took on one of the field goal attempts that was when they started just running the ball because they just had seen enough already of Geno. But I don't think they should have. I don't think that was enough to, I think he had shown just as much positive throwing the ball, especially in the first half. He made a couple decent throws. The throw to DK was a really nice throw down the sideline. Yeah, DK did more of the work, kind of out-muscling Lattimore, but I don't know. I just don't get... He clearly doesn't have the pocket awareness that Russell has. The offensive line especially was overmatched completely. I mean, especially in the interior. Kyle Fuller had a dreadful game. I don't tweet too often during games just because I'm always focused on the game. I don't like to take my eyes off it, and sometimes I'm pausing and this and that, but I had to send out a tweet Kyle Fuller is horrible. He just absolutely is. Eskridge is going to have to come out and really have a strong second half. Maybe this year's gone, so maybe you got to figure, okay, hopefully he makes a big impact next year, because it looks really bad passing on a center in the draft now with how poor Kyle Fuller is, and they knew it too. They knew he was bad, and he just got destroyed. Dwayne Brown didn't look great. Shell didn't look great out. The whole offensive line, I think, what's his name? DeMarco Jones had a pretty decent game, filling in for, obviously, Lewis, but yeah, the offensive line was overmatched. So, and you have a quarterback who's not the magician that Russell Wilson is, so call plays in the passing game that kind of can help him out a little bit, get the ball out quickly, this and that. I don't know. Just look more of the same. That's when you got to look at Pete Carroll. You got this creative guy from the Sean McVay system, but the offense looks the same. What does that tell you? It tells you maybe Pete just has a stranglehold on the game plan. Shane Waldron can kind of put his thoughts out there, but it's only if it's under Pete's, under Pete's supervision, right? So I don't know. It's bad. 2-5 now. At least see out the Jaguars next week, but who's to say we can even beat the Jaguars right now? I mean, we should have won that game. The Saints are still a solid team. I think they've got some flaws for sure. Obviously Kamara gashed us in the passing game, and then once they kind of took him out a little bit more, once they started doubling him, Saints couldn't do anything with their offense. So they're a flawed team. I don't know if we'll even be favored by more than 3 points, if that, at Jacksonville. When that game gets to 3-5, I don't know. It's not looking good. That was the one you really needed to have, especially because it was right there for the taking, even more so than the Pittsburgh game was. It was like 2 missed field goals, and like really that game, you could boil the game down to the fact they missed 2 field goals, considering what the final score was. But you also shouldn't have been in the position you were in to have to kick those long field goals. I mean, yeah, so there's some promising things. The defenses seem to really come around, although, again, just like Pittsburgh, I don't know, because the Saints just seem to be kind of lost offensively when it's not Kamara or bust. So, yeah, they got some question marks. I mean, the Jaguars can kind of move the ball at times, so we'll see how the defense holds up there against their running game and against Trevor Lawrence, who is kind of improving a little bit each week. So that's not going to be an easy game, but yeah, the only semblance of hope for this season is that they can maybe steal a couple more wins before Wilson gets back, and then he's back probably right in time for that game at Lambeau Field. Welcome back. It's House of Horrors. I mean, yeah, looks pretty bleak, but what can you do? Been through a number of bad Seahawks seasons prior to the Wilson era, so this could be another one of those.